Markets opened to a violent correction today as big tech and pure AI chip stocks faced a massive wave of selling. The damage started overnight in Asia. Heavy dumping in memory and semiconductor stocks dragged South Korea's Kospi down over 10%, creating a gap down open for U.S. heavyweights like Nvidia, AMD, and Micron. While retail sentiment is pivoting toward panic, institutional order flow suggests a surgical rotation. Professional capital is moving towards specific, less crowded pockets of the AI ecosystem. This capital is flowing into the physical bottlenecks of the build-out. Hyperscalers are discovering that buying thousands of GPUs is only half the battle. Those chips require massive upgrades to power delivery, cooling systems, and high-speed optical networks to function at scale. Navigating this shift requires tracking where money is solving these physical constraints, rather than simply chasing chip hype. The first constraint is thermal. As server rack densities explode, these next-generation GPUs generate enough heat to compromise the hardware without a complete overhaul of data center cooling. Vertiv specializes in the liquid cooling and thermal management systems designed to keep these high-density clusters from melting down. This chart shows Vertiv's performance diverging from the broader chip sector today. As semiconductor indices plummeted, Vertiv maintained a steady upward trend. This strength is backed by hyperscaler orders for specialized thermal architecture, and we're watching for continued backlog growth. Without this level of advanced thermal infrastructure, the physical deployment of the next wave of GPUs becomes impossible. Then there is the energy deficit. AI data centers operate 24 hours a day with a power appetite that standard municipal electrical grids are not built to sustain. Constellation Energy provides a solution through its nuclear fleet, offering carbon-free, always-on baseload power that matches the constant demand of a hyperscale cluster. Tech giants are increasingly signing long-term, utility-scale contracts to lock in this power supply. These agreements provided Constellation with significant defensive strength during today's market-wide tech sell-off. Ultimately, digital output is limited by electrical input. This makes baseload energy providers the essential gatekeepers for the next stage of the build-out. The final bottleneck is the internal plumbing of the data center. Inside AI clusters, traditional copper wiring is reaching the limit of how much data it can move quickly enough for training and inference. To maintain speed, the industry is shifting toward high-speed optical networking, the specific interconnect technology designed by CRDO. As the animation shows, traditional pipelines create data jams. Demand is shifting toward 800G and 1.6T transceivers, which act as wide, high-throughput pathways that allow data to move between servers at light speed. The fastest processors in the world lose their utility if the internal networking cannot keep up with the speed of the chips themselves. The price action in Vertiv, Constellation, and CRDO signals an institutional focus on segments with multi-year infrastructure backlogs, rather than short-term hardware cycles. However, significant risks remain. Today's volume pushed many semiconductor charts into technical breakdowns, and we are seeing increased defensive activity in the options market. A continued fade in risk appetite could pull the entire sector lower. Manage your exposure by prioritizing high-volume reversals and keeping position sizes aligned with the volatility of this build-out. Tomorrow's watchlist is categorized by near-term relevance. We're tracking power and cooling through VRT and CEG, followed by optical networking plays like CRDO and Coherent. Finally, we'll monitor hardware builders like Dell and watch for a stabilization floor in the major chip makers. Today's trade demonstrates that as chip volume scales, market attention is narrowing on the cooling, energy, and networking infrastructure required to actually run them. For daily market heat checks and breakdowns of emerging infrastructure bottlenecks, subscribe and turn on notifications. Leave a comment with what you're watching. This is market analysis for education and entertainment, not financial advice. Trade responsibly, and I will see you in the next one.